Many people feel guilty for not enjoying visitors, but this feeling is far deeper than simple introversion. When you prefer solitude, it reveals something important about your inner world, your energy, boundaries, emotional history, and spiritual growth. Today, let's explore what this actually says about your soul. When you don't enjoy having visitors, one of the deepest reasons is that your soul values energetic clarity, a quality that many people never develop in their entire lifetime. Energetic clarity means you can feel the emotional atmosphere around you with unusual precision. You notice the subtle shifts in tone, intention, and mood that others overlook. Your mind and body respond to these shifts instantly, even before you consciously understand them. This sensitivity isn't a flaw or a sign of weakness. It's a sign of inner intelligence, a form of emotional intuition that helps you navigate the world more consciously. People who have strong energetic clarity often live with a heightened awareness of their own internal state. You know when your energy is rising and when it's draining. You know when someone's presence disrupts your mental peace. You might not always understand the reason, but you feel the impact immediately in your body. Your breathing changes, your thoughts get heavier, or your mood shifts. That's because your inner space isn't just a physical environment, it's an emotional ecosystem. When someone steps into it, they bring not only their body but also their stress, their expectations, their unspoken emotions, and their energetic intentions. Most people walk into a room carrying invisible weight, anxiety, frustration, comparison, insecurity, or even hidden conflict. They may not show it on the surface, but your soul senses it. You absorb these emotional imprints faster than others, and because of that, you need more time alone to reset. When visitors arrive, they unintentionally mix their emotional energy with yours. You might feel drained afterward, even if the interaction was short or polite. This isn't because you dislike people. It's because your sensitivity makes you feel emotions deeply, and your system needs space to filter and process them. Energetic clarity also means you value authenticity. You can quickly sense when someone is being genuine or when they're wearing a mask. Many visits are filled with small talk, forced politeness, or emotional pretending. For most people, this is normal. For you, it feels heavy, unnatural, and energetically confusing. You prefer interactions that are real, meaningful, and peaceful, not the ones that create noise without connection. Because of this, you naturally pull away from social situations where people come into your space physically, but fail to connect with you emotionally. Having visitors also requires you to shift your energy outward to host, to entertain, to maintain conversation, and to adjust your environment for others. This outward energy movement contradicts the natural inward flow your soul is drawn to. When you're alone, your mind can rest, your emotions can settle, and your inner voice becomes clear. Visitors often interrupt this internal harmony. It's not the person that bothers you. It's the energetic demand that comes with their presence. Another reason your soul prefers fewer visitors is that you see your home as a sacred space. It's where your energy belongs to you alone. Everything in your environment reflects your inner peace, the lighting, the silence, the order, the atmosphere. When someone enters, the balance shifts. Even if they have good intentions, their presence brings a different frequency into your personal sanctuary. You're not rejecting people, you're protecting your inner world. Your soul values clarity because it helps you grow. It helps you make decisions without confusion. It helps you sense danger before it arrives. It helps you stay aligned with what feels right and avoid what drains your spirit. The world often misunderstands people like you, thinking you're antisocial or distant. But the truth is that you simply know how powerful energy is, and you want to live in a state where your mind, emotions, and surroundings are in harmony. This preference is a sign of self-awareness, emotional depth, and spiritual maturity. It shows that you are living from your soul, not from social expectations, and that is a rare, powerful gift. When you don't enjoy having visitors, it often reflects something profound about your inner world. You are deeply connected to yourself. This self-connection is not the same as isolation or avoidance. It is a sign that your inner life is rich, meaningful, and full of awareness. Many people spend their lives running away from their own thoughts, drowning their silence with noise, and distracting themselves from their feelings. But for you, solitude isn't empty, it's nourishing. It's the space where your mind breathes, your emotions organize themselves, and your true voice rises above the world's expectations. When you prefer your own company, it shows that you have learned to be comfortable with yourself. You don't fear quiet moments, you appreciate them. You don't feel anxious when you are alone, you feel clearer. This is something most people struggle with, because they associate being alone with discomfort. But for you, solitude is not loneliness, it is alignment. It is the moment when your thoughts slow down enough for you to actually hear what your heart is saying. It's when your intuition becomes louder, your creativity expands, and your emotional energy rebalances itself. This deep self-connection also means that you have a strong sense of what feels right and what doesn't. You understand when your energy is high, when it's low, when you need rest, and when you need space. Visitors often disrupt this rhythm. Their presence, even if unintentional, creates pressure to host, socialize, adjust your environment, or match their emotional pace. When you're deeply connected to yourself, this pressure becomes noticeable immediately. Your soul senses the shift, and your body responds. You may feel mentally crowded, emotionally unsettled, or slightly disconnected from your internal peace. Another reason this keynote is so important is that people with strong self-connection don't need constant external validation. You don't rely on visitors to feel important, entertained, or secure. Your fulfillment comes from within, not from the approval or presence of others. This inner independence can feel unfamiliar or uncomfortable for people who depend heavily on social interaction for emotional stability. But for you, it is a sign of emotional maturity. You're not afraid to stand alone because you have already built a relationship with yourself. Self-connected individuals often have a strong, reflective nature. You think deeply, you observe quietly, and you process experiences in meaningful ways. Visitors, especially those who demand surface-level interaction or constant talking, can interrupt your reflective flow. It is not that you dislike them, it's that they pull you out of your natural depth and into a lighter, more scattered state that doesn't align with who you truly are. After they leave, you often need time to return to yourself, to gather your thoughts, and to restore your inner calm. Your preference for solitude also reveals that your soul is in a phase of growth. Deep inner growth rarely happens in noise. It happens in stillness. You may be healing, learning, transforming, or aligning with a higher purpose. This kind of inner evolution requires space. Visitors, even kind ones, can unintentionally bring distractions that pull you away from your personal development. When you sense that your inner world needs attention, you naturally pull inward, not outward. Another aspect of strong self-connection is that your emotional world is authentic. You don't pretend to enjoy a conversation when you don't. You don't force a smile when your energy is tired. You don't entertain people out of obligation. This honesty with yourself is powerful, but it also means you avoid situations that require emotional pretending. Many visits, unfortunately, fall into that category. Your soul would rather stay aligned with your truth than perform socially. Not wanting visitors is not about shutting people out, it's about honoring the relationship you have with yourself. It shows that your inner life matters to you, your peace holds value, and your emotional clarity is a priority. This deep self-connection is a gift that many seek but few actually achieve, and it makes your soul stronger, wiser, and more grounded. When you don't enjoy having visitors, one of the deepest reasons is that your nervous system is strongly attuned to safety, stability, and predictability. Your home is not just a physical place where you sleep or relax, it is your emotional refuge. It's the space where your mind unwinds, where your breathing returns to its natural rhythm, where your thoughts organize themselves, and where you feel fully in control. When someone enters your space, your nervous system becomes more alert, more aware, more cautious, and sometimes even overwhelmed. This response is not random, it's your body's way of protecting your peace. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment, even when you don't realize it. It looks for signs of comfort, danger, noise, disruption, or unpredictability. When you're alone, the environment is familiar. There are no unexpected movements, no unfamiliar sounds, no emotional shifts coming from outside. Your body knows what to expect, and this predictability helps it relax. You feel grounded, you feel centered. But when visitors arrive, everything changes. Their energy, their voice, their habits, and their presence alter the emotional atmosphere of your space. Your nervous system becomes more active because it must adjust to an environment it cannot fully control. For some people, this shift is barely noticeable. But if you are more sensitive, intuitive, or emotionally aware, the change feels strong. Your system reads subtle cues, a tone in someone's voice, a facial expression, a restless movement, or even the emotional tension they bring with them. You might not consciously analyze these things, but your body reacts instantly. Your shoulders may tense slightly, your breathing may become shallower, or your thoughts may speed up. All of this is your nervous system communicating. There is a change here, pay attention. It's not fear, it's heightened awareness. This heightened awareness can become exhausting when visitors stay for too long, or when their presence contradicts the calm environment your mind has created for itself. Even if the person is kind or familiar, the energetic shift affects you. Some people bring excitement, some bring stress, some bring loudness, and some bring emotional complexity. You feel all of it. And because your nervous system is wired to maintain internal harmony, it instantly tries to balance what is happening inside you with what is happening around you. Another element at play is that visitors unintentionally create a sense of responsibility. You may feel obligated to host, listen, respond, or adjust your behavior. Even if you do nothing, your mind still works harder because a part of you stays alert. When you are alone, none of this exists. You move freely through your space without pressure. You don't have to manage anyone's expectations. You don't have to match anyone's emotional frequency. That freedom is something your nervous system cherishes. This sensitivity to environmental safety often comes from a deeper inner wisdom. Your soul knows what you need to remain emotionally stable. For some people, constant social interaction is stimulating. For you, it may feel draining. Your nervous system has learned over time that peace is not found in crowds or constant company. It is found in controlled environments where your thoughts have space to breathe. It's also possible that your nervous system learned to value safety because of your past experiences. You may have been in environments where you felt responsible for other people's emotions, or where you had to stay alert to avoid discomfort. Over time, your system learned to associate unfamiliar presence with tension. This doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. It simply means your body has adapted to protect you. You also may prefer visitors only when you feel emotionally prepared. Unexpected visits or socializing without mental readiness can feel like a shock to your inner balance. Your nervous system thrives when things are planned, calm, and predictable. Anything that disrupts this balance can feel overwhelming, not because you dislike people, but because your system functions best when your space remains peaceful. Your preference says something powerful. You honor your emotional safety. You recognize when your environment feels aligned and when it doesn't. This is not a weakness, it is emotional intelligence. It shows that your body and soul are working together to protect your peace, your clarity, and your well-being. When you don't enjoy having visitors, one important truth becomes clear. You've developed strong personal boundaries that protect your emotional energy, your time, and your inner peace. These boundaries were not built overnight. They formed slowly, shaped by your experiences, your growth, and your increasing awareness of what your soul genuinely needs. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear disappointing others or appearing rude. But you have reached a point where honoring your own mental and emotional limits matters more than pleasing everyone around you. Having strong personal boundaries means you have learned to listen to yourself. You no longer ignore the discomfort that rises when people enter your space without invitation. You no longer force yourself to entertain visitors when you are tired, emotionally drained, or simply not in the mood to socialize. Instead of betraying yourself to meet social expectations, you choose truth about your energy, your needs, and your emotional capacity. This level of honesty is powerful. It shows emotional maturity, self-respect, and an understanding that peace is not something to sacrifice for the sake of appearances. Many people feel obligated to accept visitors because they fear judgment. They worry that refusing someone will make them seem distant or unfriendly. But your boundaries reflect something deeper. You no longer live based on how others may perceive you. You live based on what keeps you aligned. You know that allowing people into your space when you are not emotionally ready can leave you drained, irritated, or overstimulated. You know that saying yes when you mean no disconnects you from yourself. So now you choose to protect your space even when others might not understand why. Strong personal boundaries often come from knowing yourself well. You have experienced moments in life when you gave too much, tolerated too much, or allowed people to take your time and energy without thinking of the impact on you. Those experiences taught you something important. Your inner world requires protection. Not everyone deserves immediate access to you. Not everyone should have the privilege of entering your physical or emotional space. Visitors, no matter how polite or friendly, bring energy with them, energy that your boundaries filter before allowing too close. These boundaries also reveal that you are no longer available for emotional labor that drains you. Many visits involve listening to other people's problems, comforting them, or carrying their emotional weight even when they don't realize they are putting it on you. Your boundaries help you recognize when you are absorbing too much from others, and when you need to pull back to prevent emotional burnout. This is not selfishness. It is self-preservation. It is understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Another reason your boundaries matter is that you value authenticity over obligation. You want interactions that feel natural, peaceful, and genuine, not forced or draining. Visitors often expect social niceties, small talk, or emotional performance. But your soul wants honesty. It wants depth or silence, not noise. Your boundaries act like a filter, allowing only people who respect your energy and understand your needs to come closer. You've also learned the difference between isolation and intentional solitude. Isolation is running away from people out of fear. Solitude is choosing your own company for peace. Your boundaries reflect this maturity. You don't avoid visitors because you fear them. You avoid them because you prefer environments where you feel safe, grounded, and yourself. This shows strength, not avoidance. Your boundaries also teach others how to treat you. Every time you honor your limits, people learn that your space, your time, and your emotional well-being are valuable. If someone truly respects you, they will respect your boundaries. If they don't, their reaction tells you everything you need to know. Not enjoying visitors reflects a powerful truth. You value your peace deeply. You have created a life where your emotional needs matter, where your energy is honored, and where your inner world is protected. That is the essence of strong boundaries, choosing yourself without feeling guilty. People who don't enjoy having visitors often share a powerful inner trait. They are highly observant and intuitive. This means you don't just see people, you sense them. You don't simply hear their words, you read the tone beneath them. You don't just sit near someone, you feel their emotional temperature, their intentions, their stress, their sincerity, or their hidden tension. This level of awareness is rare, and it shapes the way you experience social interactions, especially when someone enters your personal space. Intuitive individuals are always scanning their environment, not because they are paranoid, but because they naturally notice details others miss. When a visitor steps into your home, you immediately pick up on how they are feeling. You notice if they are uncomfortable, distracted, stressed, or emotionally heavy. Even if they try to hide it with a smile, your intuition catches the mismatch. This creates an internal reaction. Part of your energy shifts from being grounded in your space to trying to understand what the other person is bringing into it. For most people, these subtle emotional signals go unnoticed. But for you, they are loud. This means visitors don't simply come over. They change the entire atmosphere of your space. You feel their energy, their presence, their mood, and even the unspoken things they carry. Your mind becomes alert, your body becomes more aware, and your emotions begin to attune themselves to the visitor's state. This constant sensing is powerful, but it can also be draining. Your intuition also makes you naturally empathetic. You don't just observe people, you feel their emotional weight. If someone arrives feeling anxious, sad, restless, or chaotic, you can sense it immediately. And because your empathy is strong, your inner world reacts. You might feel a heaviness you didn't have before, or a pressure to comfort or help the person, even if they never say a word. This emotional blending can be overwhelming, especially inside your home, where you are used to emotional clarity. Being intuitive also means you are sensitive to dishonesty. When someone visits and pretends to be okay, you feel the emotional dissonance. When someone says one thing but means another, your intuition picks up the inconsistency. Many social interactions require small talk or polite pretending, and while others can engage in this with no difficulty, it feels uncomfortable and confusing for you. Your soul wants authenticity, real conversations, real emotions, real connection, not mindless words or masked feelings. Visitors often bring the opposite, and your intuition reacts immediately. Another hidden reason you resist visitors is because your intuition thrives in silence and space. When you are alone, your mind is clear. Your inner voice becomes stronger. You can think deeply, observe your own emotions, and stay in tune with what you truly feel. But when someone enters your environment, the noise increases, not always literal noise, but energetic noise. Your intuition gets pulled outward instead of inward, and you lose contact with your deeper self. This shift is subtle, but intuitive people feel it intensely. Your observant nature also makes you aware of the smallest changes in your environment. A chair moved, a sound made, a new scent in the air, all these things register in your mind. Visitors disrupt the natural rhythm of your environment, and because you notice everything, the disruption feels bigger than it does to most people. Your awareness makes your home feel sacred, balanced, and deeply personal, which is why any change created by visitors can feel uncomfortable. You also have a natural ability to read between the lines. You sense when someone expects something from you: emotional support, entertainment, attention, or validation. Even when they don't say it, your intuition feels the hidden expectation, and this silent demand can be draining, especially when you didn't invite it. Your mind begins to analyze, interpret, and adjust to meet the unspoken needs of the visitor, which pulls you away from your peace. Your observant and intuitive nature is a gift, but it comes with the need for boundaries and solitude. You don't avoid visitors because you dislike people. You avoid them because their presence activates a level of emotional awareness that is tiring to maintain. Your intuition works best when your environment is calm, predictable, and quiet. Visitors disrupt that balance, and your soul recognizes it instantly. This is why your preference for fewer visitors is not a flaw, it is a reflection of your deep emotional intelligence, your sensitivity to energy, and your natural intuitive wisdom. When you don't enjoy having visitors, it often reveals something important about your emotional and psychological landscape. Your soul needs emotional privacy. Emotional privacy is not about shutting people out, it's about having a safe internal world where your feelings, thoughts, and inner experiences can exist without interference. Many people share their emotions freely and openly. They let others into their space without thinking twice. But you are not built that way. You guard your emotional world because it is meaningful, delicate, and deeply personal. Your emotional privacy means you don't want your internal state to be constantly exposed or observed. When someone comes into your home, even if they say nothing, they still bring their presence, and presence alone can feel like pressure. You suddenly become aware of your behavior, your tone, your energy, and even your environment. This awareness shifts your mind from being relaxed and authentic to being careful and slightly guarded. This is not because you are insecure, it is because your emotional world prefers spaciousness, not intrusion. You may also protect your emotional privacy because you feel things deeply. Strong feelers often withdraw from environments where their emotions could be misunderstood, judged, or misread. Visitors can unintentionally create this discomfort. Their questions, their comments, their expectations, even simple ones, can feel invasive. A harmless "how are you?" can feel like an invitation to share more than you want to. A casual remark about your home, your mood, or your habits might feel like a disruption to your private emotional rhythm. You guard your inner world not because you are hiding something, but because it holds meaning that not everyone deserves access to. Another aspect of emotional privacy is the need to process emotions in solitude. You prefer to understand your feelings on your own time, in your own way, without someone's presence influencing how you think or react. Visitors, even well-meaning ones, can interrupt that process. If you are reflecting, healing, or simply resting emotionally, their arrival pulls you away from your inner work. Suddenly, your focus shifts outward toward conversation, hospitality, social expectations, and your emotional flow gets interrupted. You feel disconnected from yourself, and this disconnection can feel unsettling. There is also a layer of emotional independence within you. You don't rely on others to regulate your emotions. You don't need attention or constant company to feel secure. Your inner stability comes from your own practices, your silence, your creative outlets, your routines, your introspection. Visitors can unintentionally disrupt this stability by introducing their emotional energy into your space. Even if they are calm, your emotional privacy notices the change, and you feel it immediately. Some people process their emotions externally by talking, sharing, venting, or expressing openly. You are the opposite. You process internally. Visitors often expect conversations, explanations, or emotional engagement, and this expectation can feel like pressure. You may feel compelled to respond, to be present, to engage even when your emotional world wants stillness. Your privacy protects you from emotional exhaustion. Another hidden truth is that emotional privacy often grows from past experiences where your feelings weren't respected or understood. If you have ever been judged for how you felt, dismissed for your emotional needs, or forced to open up before you were ready, you learn to guard your inner world more carefully. Visitors may remind your nervous system of those moments, even if they are not harmful. The simple act of being around others in your safe space can activate old patterns of vigilance. You prefer environments where your emotions can exist freely, without the need to explain, justify, or perform. Your emotional privacy also shows that you value depth over casual connection. You don't want shallow interactions in your sacred space. You don't want forced laughter or meaningless conversations. You want your inner world to stay aligned, peaceful, and authentic. Visitors, especially those who don't understand emotional boundaries, can bring more noise than nourishment. Your preference to avoid visitors is a sign of emotional strength, not weakness. You know the value of your inner world. You know how important it is to protect your heart, your peace, and your emotional clarity. Emotional privacy is a form of self-respect. It means you honor your feelings, your boundaries, and your need for inner space. Your soul isn't rejecting people, it's simply choosing authenticity, peace, and emotional freedom. You may think that avoiding visitors makes you appear distant, but in reality, it reveals something much deeper about your soul. You are someone who values meaningful, heart-centered connection over casual interaction. This is not something you consciously decided, it is something that naturally developed within you as you grew more self-aware, emotionally sensitive, and spiritually mature. You don't crave company, you crave alignment. You don't crave noise, you crave presence. You don't crave crowds, you crave souls that feel familiar. People who don't enjoy visitors are often those who love deeply, feel deeply, and connect deeply. And because your capacity for connection runs so deep, you cannot settle for relationships that only touch the surface. Most social interactions are built on superficial exchanges, quick updates, small talk, forced laughter, or conversations that lack sincerity. For others, this may be enough, but for you, these interactions feel empty. They don't nourish your heart. They don't expand your mind. They don't soothe your soul. Instead, they drain you because they ask you to give emotional energy with nothing meaningful in return. Your soul is wired for connection that feels real, connection that is rooted in trust, honesty, emotional depth, and energetic harmony. And because such connections are rare, visitors rarely bring what your soul truly longs for. When someone enters your space without emotional alignment, you feel it immediately. Their energy doesn't match yours. Their presence doesn't blend with your atmosphere. Their conversation doesn't touch your heart. This mismatch creates discomfort, even if they are kind or familiar. Your soul simply knows the difference between someone being around you and someone genuinely connecting with you. This understanding makes you more selective, not closed off, but intentional. You would rather spend time alone than spend time with people who do not resonate with your energy. You would rather preserve your peace than entertain someone whose presence feels heavy or distracting. You would rather protect your emotional frequency than allow it to be disrupted by people who don't truly understand or value you. This is a sign of emotional self-respect, not isolation. People who value meaningful connection often carry strong intuition. You don't just listen to what people say, you feel what they mean. You can sense insincerity, tension, hidden agendas, or emotional chaos in seconds. You can tell when someone is only visiting out of obligation, curiosity, or habit. You know when people want something from you rather than wanting to truly be with you. Your intuition protects you by signaling when a connection is shallow or misaligned. This inner knowing guides you away from interactions that don't support your emotional well-being, especially within your sacred space. Your home is also part of this equation. Your space holds your energy. It is where you think, heal, rest, and feel most yourself. When visitors enter your home without genuine alignment, they disrupt the emotional atmosphere you've built. You feel their mood, their stress, their thoughts, their expectations. You sense their pace and their energy. Even if you smile and act polite, deep inside, your soul feels unsettled. This is because your heart wants connection, not intrusion. It wants authenticity, not obligation. It wants resonance, not noise. Another reason you avoid visitors is because you understand that meaningful connection is not measured by frequency, it is measured by depth. You don't need constant social activity to feel connected. One soulful conversation with the right person can nourish you more than 100 empty interactions. This is why you value quality over quantity. You know the difference between people who fill space and people who fill your soul. And here is one of the most powerful truths. Your ability to choose depth over distraction is a sign of emotional wisdom. Many people lose themselves in social noise because they fear being alone with their thoughts. But you embrace solitude because it feels honest, peaceful, and energizing. You don't seek people to escape yourself, you seek people who help you return to yourself. In the end, your lack of interest in having visitors is not a flaw. It is a reflection of your spiritual maturity, your emotional clarity, and your intuitive insight. Your soul isn't rejecting connection, it is protecting the kind of connection that truly matters. You are not cold. You are not rude. You are not lonely. You are simply someone who refuses to settle for anything less than genuine, aligned, meaningful human connection. And that is one of the most beautiful truths about you.